create, unleashing the artist inside you. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. We are on episode 34 and today I'm very excited because we are going to talk to my friend from Orange County in California and her name is Gloria. And hello Gloria and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Franz.
It's a good time for us to talk. It's a really sunny day and it reminds me of a nice warm weather you have and we have not enjoyed in the last couple of weeks when we had so much snow and it was terrible. It was beautiful and it was terrible. And today is so good. It's sunny and we can talk about art, one of my favorite topics, and how we can discover art even after kind of setting it aside for a few years. And this is really your story. So Gloria Pearson is as I said, an artist from California, but she was not an artist since the day she was born. She was not working full-time as an artist or anything. She was just a normal girl going to school who had a passion. What was your passion, Gloria?
Actually, thinking about it, my passion was beauty. I love beautiful things, and I was always fixing our house in such a way that it is balanced, it's feng shui, it's just correct, beautiful. That was the first thing that I really realized that's what I wanted.
Amazing. So, yeah, you wanted beauty. So how did you accomplish that? Did you buy flowers or change the frames? What did you do?
Yeah, I constantly changed the look of our living room, for instance. My mother was always surprised when she came home. The couches were in a different place. Flowers were here, over there. Just changing, just wanting it to be so perfect and beautiful. And even now, I couldn't work. Even when I paint, I can't work without everything has to be beautiful. The sun is shining. All of that stuff, yes. Just surrounded by beauty. And we are so fortunate. We live by the ocean and the waves are always out there, the pelicans flying overhead. It's just the beauty of nature all over.
Yes, there is something about the connection, isn't it? Really inspiring. But tell me then, what happens when you went to school, when you were young? Did you go to art school to develop your talent?
Not really. It was not very clear to me at that time because I was just very focused on finishing my college degree and working towards my future. That was definitely my parents' plan for us to be able to live by ourselves and be able to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, independent. Mm-hmm. So you studied business, you said. And what was your aim? What did you want to work on?
Yes, I actually went to business school instead of to art school. After high school, I kind of was wondering if I should not go into art school, but was not very sure myself. So I just decided whatever my parents told me to do, go to business school, learn the best that you can and work for a corporation. That's where it was during my time.
Yeah, but that's what parents would tell us in those times, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. They would say, well, you need to get a really good job, maybe 9 to 5, work in an office and get a degree. And then you can pay your mortgage and you can then retire and go and live by the beach by the time you're 65. That's the whole
the plan.
The dream. That's a big plan. And the child kind of fits into this plan and say, well, my parents know very well about this, so that's what I want to do. And so art was part of your life, but it was a little bit on the back shelf for a few years.
Yes, it was.
Right? Until there was some point in your life. How old were you when you realized there was an itching to go back to your initial love?
Really, truly, it's when I was with my children. When they grew up, I was fortunate enough to live at home and took care of them. And when they went to school, finally, I was able to have time for myself. And then it was a big enlightenment that this is what I wanted to do. So I started looking for a teacher. And that's one of the tips I wanted to mention is if you really are interested in pursuing art, it is very important to find a teacher that would truly connect with you, who has the personality and patience to make you grow and enlighten you in any area you're interested in. It may be, watercolor or oil. So that's really so important, having a good teacher.
Yeah, because it would be like a mentor. It would be like a mentor, wouldn't it? Because it is following you. So he doesn't have his own idea. You have an idea and is supporting your idea instead of going through a ministerial curriculum of what you have to do and ticking the box, because at school you will be following a curriculum which might fit you or might not fit you at all because that's not what you want to do.
It's funny you said that, because I really started working for the university when I just got married, and we were in Las Vegas. Then I went to the university and studied there, but it didn't really do anything for me. Then finally, I was, by just shopping for teachers, I found somebody who really connected with me, who had the patience and understanding of what I wanted to achieve. And that was the key for me. She taught me everything.
So here, guys, here's a tip number 1. If you want to study art from scratch, get a good teacher that can really understand you and support you in your journey. What would be the first quality that you would look for in a teacher?
Oh, a teacher that really understands what you are trying to achieve. Okay, so you can start with drawing. Those are, the fundamental things. But as you get closer into really expressing yourself, you need to have a teacher who will enhance and really be patient to guide you to the right place where you want to achieve, where you really want to express yourself as an artist. And at first, I really didn't think of me as an artist. I was just doing this as a hobby. And as years went by and teachers really try to help you in many ways, you get to realize where you really want to go. And now I could actually say that I'm a little more serious about my work.
So in the beginning, were you like a playful person? Were you exploring art and everything that you haven't done when you were maybe at high school? How did you approach this?
I all love music and performing arts. Maybe that's the reason why I was really very involved with the drama club, both in high school and in college. So at that point, that form of art was giving me the way of expressing myself, I guess, instead of just the visual. And now visual is more important to me than other forms of art. But music is still part. As you can see, my son Leif is just a musical artist himself.
Yeah. And you can, of course, do a visual art while listening to music.
Yes, I like that you said that, because in one of the way I see my art is you have to see music in it too. You could, when you see a picture, sometimes it really touches you in such a way that, it's so musical in your own, thinking.
In fact, if I may, there are 4 photographs of 4 of your artworks that you sent me today and that I have already posted on my Facebook profile. And you can see some movement there, some pattern, and that could be related to music as well, especially one that is a lot of blues and going around. You think, well, that could be, maybe she's listening to a waltz from Strauss and she's doing that all the time, and here we go. What were
Right.
you? Can you remember what was inspiring you, or what was leading you when you were painting? Was there a rhythm? Was there a music?
Yeah, it's to me, I love calming music. But it's funny because what really is calming is example is Andrea Bocelli. He really makes me feel very calm whenever I listen to his music. Does it to you? Does it have the same effect?
Yes, I like. I heard him singing quite a few things. Also, being Italian, of course, he's quite famous in Italy. But also, one of my favorites is when he plays, when he sings "My Father." There is a very famous rendition of "My Father" with a Mormon Tabernacle Choir, and it was like
Uh-huh.
so touching. I was like, wow! I mean, there's such a song. By the time he's finished, he say, "Father," you're in tears. You're like, oh my gosh, with this tear in my heart.
It's very, yeah, it touches you emotionally. Yeah, but you're
Yes.
so, I think, in line with that particular work. It also has a Polak style because some parts of it are very, very light. You can't really see it, but it's like just very random. But the lines that go this way and that, it does give a musical way of thinking, right? Just looking at that particular painting.
See that you are so much like me. You like your music, you like your rhythm, and so you can see that the arts are not separated in different boxes, but they can be interacting with one another. You can have this very special 3D, 4D, 5D experience and really immerse yourself and be in the flow, which is something that all my listeners will be very conversant with, because I say all the time, I say, you are in the flow, you know you're doing something that you really enjoy, makes you feel very good. So tell me, how do you feel when you do art, but also what is the difference between, if there is any, between how did you feel in the beginning when you were doing art, when you were painting, and if any, are you different? Are you feeling differently now when you're painting? Or is it still the same pleasure, the same thing? What is the big difference in the feeling?
I think I'm enhancing it with more spirituality in what I do. I used to just, oh, this is what I think I want to play, work with today. Of course, I think, right, before I even put it in paper. And I used to just, out of the blues, oh, this is what I want. But now I'm more into spirituality, like that last two. The first was on reflection with the mountains and the very top and the boat and the very bottom. It's very Japanese because I also like the Japanese style.
Yes, looks Japanese, yeah.
Right. It's calming and but then still you could see the person inside the boat was reflecting on something while he is out there in nature. And on the other one, the first, I don't know if you remember the one with the stars in the background, or they are stars.
They are stars. I was wondering.
That's really religious. I named it Three Graces. So I have changed through the years, I think.
Right. What was the meaning of that blue one then with the stars?
Well, that it is actually you are out in space. And you can see the galaxy and all this that you can think about when you're out there alone. And then those were actually the three graces were clouds that forms closer to Earth. And the background, the very background was the stars.
Very beautiful. Yeah, and you can just imagine this beautiful music and going there and looking at the stars. And this is huge, this is beautiful. And it just using you and the creation and the creator looking around thinking, wow, this is stunning, right?
Yes.
And then you trying to recreate that stunning thing and this awe feeling, on paper with some colors, and just amazing. So do you then capture that, and then when you look at your art, can you recapture again the same feeling, or do you develop layers?
Yeah, I think it's layers, because when I paint, it doesn't really mean that I paint one piece in 2 days or one piece in 1 month. So there's a lot of layers in what one thinks and what expresses in her art, I guess. Do you feel the same way, Franz?
I do that. I start with one idea and then I start adding, but this means that, and I could be even a little bit too complicated and then do nothing because I'm doing too much thinking.
Right.
That's me. So that's why I don't do abstract art, because I get completely lost. But let me just look in my notes, because I remember something that I remember we were talking about with teachers. And I wanted to focus a little bit of the impulse and the patience, because a lot of people say, well, I do not have a patience to be an artist, to be the drawing person, because it's just not me, I'm very agitated. Well, I'm full of energy and I love art. And I remember you told me in our pre-show interview that you have an impulse, you have a strength, a force, like a volcano sometimes, comes out. So how does that work with you when you are trying to do art?
Yeah, I get frustrated. I have to be very honest with you. I have this idea and I put it on paper and it doesn't come out the same as what I thought it would be. And I'd be so frustrated. And through the years with this teacher that has been working with me, she would always say, but Gloria, you can do this and you can do that. And she would give me options. And of course, those always stayed with me when I get frustrated and I lose my patience. And as I grow older, patience is a little easier. And just take time. Don't be in a hurry. I used to be so hurried in all I did. And then now I'm a little calmer, a little more patient, and know the reasons why you should be patient. It's hard to do.
Tell me, you had to be patient. What is the best type of art for people who are not very patient?
Go to museums. That was one of my second tip. Go to museums and enjoy art of others, both new artists and the masters. You really learn, and you could really, even with just one master artwork, you can take your time and look and think to yourself, how did it come to be this way? That's one of the things that I learned, that you should get away and give yourself time and be calm and be, give yourself all the things that you could increase your art by going out there and exposing yourself. Even in concerts, there's always art, right? Everywhere you go, there's art, even nature. So I think expose yourself as much as you can.
To increase your awareness of what there is, because you don't know what you don't know, do you?
Right.
Once you are exposed to that, you think, oh my gosh, I never knew it was possible to do this and to do that. And then you get inspiration and you want to go home and do something maybe different, or maybe differently, or even change completely. Think I really was. And I like when people are inspired by nature or by engineering or science, and they put that inside the art. So art is not always just taking a photograph of a cat and making a nice portrait, but sometimes it's beyond that, it's way deeper. There are concepts, there are atmospheres, there are feelings. Do you use art yourself to express your feelings?
Yes. Not all the time, but I do. Especially during the COVID lockdown, and it's still going on, right? Yeah, I do art wherein I can really express what I feel and what I frustration sometimes, you can put it on paper. And sometimes the grace of just being, to accepting what's happening and that there is an end to this too. And you can put them all in a form of art.
Yes. I know that a lot of people have found respite with all sorts of art. In fact, one of my previous podcast episodes, I don't even know how to pronounce my own podcast name. I interviewed Leaf, your son, and we played his song. And his song was really a lockdown song about being far away from a person you love. And it was like, hey, here's another way to express how we are all feeling, that we are so distant from the people we love, that we are not able to enjoy the life that we used to have. And I think everyone is looking forward to that. And art is that chain that keeps us still attached to ourselves and to reconnect to the universe and to all the people around us. Say, we're here, we're going to be back outside very soon.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me just look again. I have taken so many notes last week. You told me there were 2 people that have inspired you in particular for your art, Jackson and Gerard. Remember? One was Jackson Park and Gerard Richter. Tell me a little bit more about it. What did you find that was inspirational?
Okay, Gerhard Richter, a German master who's still alive at the age of 88 or 89 now. Mm-hmm. In his art, I could really see a lot of freedom of expression. Mm-hmm. And that really gave me so much interest, because I really have a difficulty with photographic art, which has surgical precision, because it has to be correct, or if it's and correct lines here and there, and it's got to be so perfect. That frustrated me. It was all too consuming. It's too constraining for my freedom of art, I felt. Mm-hmm. So I started with really beautiful, Mona Lisa type of the usual beautiful masterpieces. And I was just frustrated. And finally, when I found Richter, was just amazing, like a flower, I guess, I just opened up and got to do what I really love to do. I enjoy it so much. It really shows a lot of freedom and expression of whatever I want to do. So it's really a freedom of expression that I found in his work. And the colors that he uses is very happy. It's not calming though, that's because the colors are just everywhere. But I think as you sit down and look at the pieces that he has made, and I try to emulate, of course, in my own style, you find little things in the painting that connects with you. That's what my friends tell me, or my family tell me, from my finished art.
So thank you very much for that. That was amazing to hear how you view the art and how it expands your own understanding, and then it reflects back into your art, because you have all your thinking, all right, I like this, I like that, I'm going to implement this. And we talked about how you felt when you are painting it. You were talking about being calm and fulfilled and feeding your soul. And so if anyone who is listening to us today wanted to go back to art after maybe setting it aside because you're raising your kids or you're doing a job and it's very busy, life gets busy, but maybe at age 30, 40, 50 you decided, I would love to try art. Do you have any tips? I know you already mentioned, but can you kind of put them as a tip now? What would you suggest to people to do to get back into art? Do they need a whole weekend? Do they need many, many days of college? Do they need qualification? What's the best tip?
When they're just starting, when they find out that they have more time.
Yeah, let's say that they had an interest years ago. They know that they liked it, but they never developed it. And now they pass the 30s and they're like, oh, I'd love to go back to that. and they're kind of like, I don't know how to start this.
That's it. When you all of a sudden comes to you that this is you have all the time, the thing is to truly enhance yourself and bring yourself into this time that you have, and try what you were really interested in years ago, and see if you're still in the same place as you have many years ago, wanted to express yourself in some way, and find out if painting is really the way for you. The first thing I did is I put in a little, separate table, and I just started to work. But I would not work and be very frustrated because in the very beginning, that's what happens. Everybody gets frustrated because you are not used to it. But if you give it time, and you give it a little more time, every time you have the time, then it really helps to find.
I saw that you've done watercolor and acrylic and oil, a bit of everything. I know that there are very different ways, like oil never dries up. So if you're not very patient, good luck with that. And watercolor can be quite difficult in the beginning, but then once you master it with very few strokes, you can do beautiful stuff. So for a beginner who has never done anything, and of course, art materials, canvas, they can be rather expensive. Which technique would you start with if you wanted to start painting and see something that you like? Which one of the three would you suggest to start with?
From my experience, I would like acrylic. Acrylic is very easy. It dries fast and you can redo the canvas. It doesn't mean that when you finish with something as is done, no, you can reinvent that particular painting. I like that. It's not, well, I'm just going to throw that. It's not right. That's one thing that helps my patience, I guess, right? Because you can redo and you can change the whole canvas, the same canvas with acrylic. It's perfect. It's very kind.
Yeah, it's a forgiving material and everything. The whole thing is very forgiving even to beginners, but even later when you are more professional, you change your mind, you're like, all right, I can do that. While other techniques like watercolor, good luck to you. Once you realize there is a mistake, you're pretty much stuck, and maybe for a beginner is not the ideal thing. So before we wrap it all up, is there anything else you wanted to give to our listener as a final tip, or maybe endurance thing? Do this. I mean, what would you like to say to inspire them to get started today?
Well, if you really have an interest in art, and it doesn't matter what kind it is, you have to pursue it. You have to persevere, and don't give up, because time is gold. If you can do something for yourself and for others, that's what I really like about art too. You touch other people who see your art, and what grace is that for you, right? So don't give up. There's always lots of ways of doing. Go to Michael's. Michael's has always some, as you said, it might be a lot of expense. Not really. Go to Michael's. They have everything there. Even in Michael's, they can teach you and help you which media you want to start with. Could it be just, I used to use pastel. There's another one. Pastel also nice, but it's forgiving, and it's playful. I think that's it. Play and have fun.
Oh yeah, play. I always say to people that art is really much like a 5-6-year-old child that goes to the beach, jumps into the sea, and starts splashing around. There is no right way of splashing around. You just jump in and having fun. You can't tell him, do it like this, or he doesn't care. The fact that somebody there is swimming 100 meters, how fast we are. He doesn't care at all, does he? He's just having the greatest time of his life. He's gonna remember it when he's older, and that's what life is, and art is. You have to enjoy the moment and let go of any expectation, at least in the beginning, and just see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and if we've forgotten my third tip.
Please tell us.
My third tip, and it has been very good to me, is I'm sure wherever you live, there is an art club of sort. Could be through the library, and word goes around, be a part of an art club, because only being around other artists can you be really feel that you're in the right place. If you are, it's a good experience, and it's a good experiment too, if this is really what you want to do.
Yeah,
that was my third tip.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. That is absolutely true, that by being with other people you can learn and grow and share, and it's so encouraging to go week after week, see the work of other people and realize, oh, look at them, they're having so much fun doing this, I'm gonna try it. And maybe at home you would be kind of sidetracked and start doing chores, and the phone is ringing, there's an invoice to pay, but there you are, just that's your time to nourish yourself, to nourish others, and maybe to give them some praise, because some people have never been praised about the artwork.
And the encouragement you get, right?
Yeah, they don't have self-confidence, and so it's good to give them that word and say, well, I absolutely love what you've done, and it might give them the best day of their life, and then they might even pursue that deeply and find more enjoyment, because in the end of the day, that's what art is. So we're gonna have to wrap this up, because it's already the end of our amazing podcast. So I'm very, very thankful.
That was a long one.
I'm thankful for this. So I wanted to say thank you so much, for Gloria, for being with us and sharing your tips and your images, and just making us feel like the happiness and the glory of just playing with art and coming out with something that is edifying and inspiring and beautiful. And I hope to hear from you that you are going from goal to goal and getting better and better, and then you're sharing your gift with a lot of people. So thank you for being in the show.
Thank you. It was very enlightening.
I know it will be. And next week, remember to listen. I'm going to put it up online on Monday. So thank you everyone for listening. This was episode 34 of Create with Franz. And remember that art is always there for you to reconnect you to yourself, to the universe, and to who you really are. Because our passions sometimes are very, very simple. It's just about mucking about and splashing some color, making some music. So remember, do not forget art in your daily activities. It's about self-nourishment. So thank you and bye-bye. You have listened to Create with Franz, Sidney.